Hi everyone, this is Casey with Foundation Testing and Consulting. My question for you today is whether you would make a good expert witness. In this video, I'll explain what an expert witness is, what they do, who they work for, and I'll also cover things that you should consider before deciding to become an expert witness. In subsequent videos, I'll cover details about how to prepare and perform as an expert witness as well. First, let me note that I'm not an attorney. I'm a professional engineer and geologist who's been working in my profession for over 36 years. The general concepts that I'll lay out in this video could apply to performing as an expert in a variety of career fields. I've provided expert witness services several times in the past, although it's a very small part of my practice by my own choice, which I'll get into a little bit more later in this video. So, do you know what an expert witness is? Let's start with the definition. An expert witness is a person who is permitted to testify at a deposition or trial because of special knowledge or proficiency in a particular field that is relevant to the case. The services of the expert witness are retained by the attorney representing either the plaintiff, the party who filed the lawsuit, or the defendant, the party who's being sued. A deposition is where you give sworn evidence that is testimony. This is usually done in a conference room over the course of several hours or a few days. There will be attorneys there representing both parties to a lawsuit. There will also be someone from the court to document your testimony by compiling a transcript in real time. They may also record audio and video of your testimony. Of course, most of you have an idea of what a trial involves by seeing depictions in movies or TV. At trial, you'll be given sworn testimony before a judge in court. There may also be a jury present at trial. So in this video, I'm going to cover the things that you should consider before deciding whether or not to serve as an expert witness. First, let's talk about what an expert witness does. Experts review available information that pertains to a potential or current lawsuit in order to render their own independent opinion about the associated facts of the case. This information and opinion is related to a particular area of professional expertise that is possessed by the expert witness. This opinion may take the form of verbal communications with an attorney or the compilation of a written report or opinion letter. Later, the expert may have to testify about what their opinion is and how they reached that opinion at a deposition or trial. Expert witnesses typically charge several $100s per hour for their services. This is because expert witnesses usually have many years of professional practice that they've provided and are therefore already at a higher range of the pay scale for their services. Also, the demand for such expert witnesses can be high given that the supply of such people is usually rather limited. Now, what kind of characteristics do you need to have in order to be a good expert witness? First, you'll need to have extensive experience about the overall topic that is being considered. Depending on what the case is about, you will also typically have to have considerable knowledge and experience within an area of specialization for that topic. For example, if you're a geotechnical engineer who specializes in slope stability analysis, you may not be well suited to being an expert on a matter involving the design or installation of a deep foundation. Another important aspect to consider is whether you are effective at written and verbal communications. This is because you will not only have to explain your opinion to the attorney who you're providing the services to, but you'll also have to respond to questions at deposition or trial by opposing attorneys. Another important consideration is whether you're good at retaining your composure in stressful situations. After all, it does not look at all professional if you lose your cool while being questioned by an attorney at deposition or trial.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Also, such poor behavior can completely discredit your expert opinion in the eyes of the other parties involved. You should consider how much time do you have available to provide such expert services. Often you'll have little control over when a deposition or trial will take place and how long such events will last. Such constraints can often conflict with the schedule for performing your normal job duties. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that providing expert witness services is a very small part of my service offerings by choice. One reason for this is to limit potential impacts to my normal work schedule to attend depositions or trials. Also, if you do an extensive amount of expert witness services where it constitutes the majority of your fees for a given year, you might be accused of being a, quote, hired gun by the opposing attorney. That's the implication that you'll work for anyone and form any opinion based on what the person hiring you wants. Attorneys make these type of suggestions in an attempt to discredit you as an expert witness. At this point, I'll describe a case I was involved with as an expert witness. I'll describe in general what the case was about, but more importantly, I'll describe what I had to do and how the attorneys behaved. Now, this case involved the allegation that an underground utility had been damaged in the course of performing a geotechnical investigation that included drilling through subsurface soils in order to collect samples for subsequent lab testing. At the beginning of the lawsuit, there was the process of discovery where each side turned over pertinent information about the case that's in the form of reports, notes, or other correspondence. After this information was collected, the attorney made portions related to my area of expertise available for my review. I then discussed my opinion about what I had reviewed with the attorney who had retained my services. Later, the attorney asked me to compile my findings into an opinion letter. Often such letters are used to settle a lawsuit before going to trial. At the deposition, the opposing attorney tried to discredit me as an expert witness by asking about my educational and work experience. They're looking for things like, did you go to a good school? Did you get good grades? Anything that, if you tell them I was a C and D student, it's going to cast a negative light on your expert witness testimony. Then they started asking questions about how much of my fees each year came from providing such expert witness services. They were disappointed when I told them it was about 0.2% of my annual revenue. But obviously they were trying to figure out whether to accuse me of being a, quote, hired gun. They also asked me about how many trials or depositions I had participated in. This is a tactic to try and gauge your experience level and to look for areas for potential weakness that they could exploit during the deposition or trial. Then they got into the technical aspects of the case by asking a series of questions. To me, this is the interesting part of the deposition. This is because most attorneys have little to no knowledge or experience in your area of expertise. Often their attempts to formulate good questions are impeded by this lack of knowledge. Overall, they will try to get you to provide contradictory statements or to make it appear that you are either not qualified to provide such testimony or that you had not considered the appropriate evidence in reaching your expert opinions. The attorney will also try to get you to speculate about other aspects of the case instead of simply sticking with the fact-based testimony that you've compiled. So your job as an expert witness is to speak effectively to the matters at hand relative to your area of expertise without becoming flustered, angry, inarticulate, or contradictory in portraying your expert opinion and how you reach such an opinion. Sounds easy, right? Well, I do like the challenge of it and have to say I really enjoyed the experience of providing my expert testimony in this case and others in the past. In fact, I had an opportunity to be deposed by a very junior attorney, and he was green, he was flustered, he was trying to get me to contradict myself, trip me up in a variety of ways, and it just didn't work. And oddly, once the deposition concluded and I was no longer sworn in, the attorney asked me, "Did you really believe everything you just said?" And I was flabbergasted. It's like, well, of course, that's why I'm here. But that was a little insight into the mindset of some of these attorneys. Now, there's some very good attorneys out there, and then, as you can imagine, some not so good or maybe not that scrupulous of an attorney that you may be dealing with. So be careful out there. So here are the key takeaways from this video if you're considering providing expert witness services. 1, you should have a considerable amount of experience, typically coupled with a specialty education to address a specific expert witness situation. 2, you have to offer your opinion in an honest manner. It may be that you have an opinion that is contrary to the interest of the people who want to retain you, which is okay. The attorney hiring you will need to figure out early on if you're going to be able to support their position with your opinion or not, before engaging you too far into the process. 3, you have to have enough available time so that providing expert witness services does not unduly impact your ability to perform your normal consulting duties. 4, you must have effective verbal and written communication skills to effectively portray your opinions and how you form them. And 5, you must be able to perform well in stressful situations without being seen as being angry, rude, patronizing, or having other undesirable behaviors. I hope this video will give you a feel for what it's like to provide expert witness testimony and whether it's something that you could or want to do in the future at some point. I will follow up with later videos on the general process of providing your expert opinion and more specific advice as to how to be highly effective at providing your testimony at depositions or trials and what you can do to become well prepared. If you enjoyed this video and like this type of content, please hit those like, subscribe, and notification buttons and stay tuned for future videos. Thanks very much.